No black Africans have been given refugee status since President Trump's inauguration day, when he signed an executive order effectively shutting down the refugee program. But on Monday, the first group of white Africans were welcomed here. This is them. They are Afrikaners, descendants of Dutch and other settlers to South Africa. Afrikaners created the racist apartheid regime that brutally suppressed and controlled the black population in South Africa until 1994, when black South Africans were allowed finally to vote for the very first time. The president was asked why he chose to give special treatment to Afrikaners of all people.
Because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. It's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me. But white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa.
Well, keep it honest, there is not a genocide of white farmers in South Africa. That's just not true. That idea.
I'm sure you're all wondering what's going on with white South Africans moving as refugees to the...
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. You guys are my MVPs, all my returning subscribers. Thank you so much. If you're seeing me for the very first time, I hope you do consider subscribing on the channel. So in today's episode, we are going to be reacting on these few clips. There are just 3 that I've gotten today that I want us to watch together. Of course, the first one is from the CNN. There has been a lot of rumors that South Africans going to America, it's because they are being brutalized, they are being persecuted, which is actually a lie. I have literally just found out from these videos. I want us to watch them together. Let me know what you think about them.
I'm sure you're all wondering what's going on with white South Africans moving as refugees to the United States. All this noise about white South Africans being persecuted and all that. I'm here to tell you exactly what's going on. There's no white people being persecuted in South Africa. There's nothing like that. And these are not refugees. These are not immigrants. These people are moving to the United States on invitation by President Donald Trump of the United States. At the same time, the same President Donald Trump, he's busy deporting people who are not white from the United States, and he's inviting people who are purely white back in the United States. Do you know exactly what's going on here? There's something going on here. It is all connected to MAGA, Make America Great Again. Now, by now, if you don't know what Make America Great Again means, after you watch this video, you should understand exactly what Make America Great Again means. There was a time when 99% of the, or 95% of the population of the United States used to be white, pure white, pointed nose and blue eyes. But now, the population of the white race in the United States is 54%. That's a huge drop. And the white race in the United States is shocked and startled and threatened by this. Like, oh guys, we are now becoming a minority, especially when Barack Obama was elected in the United States. And this debate came into the forefront to say, how did we elect a black man to be president? Something's going on, you know? And since Barack Obama, there's been a deliberate campaign in the United States to make America white again. That's why Trump makes so much sense. He's a dumb kind of guy. He's a funny guy. He's kind of floppy and kind of low IQ-ish. But they love him. And you wonder how they love such a guy. He's fat, you know, and Americans are very, very careful in choosing their president. They don't choose, they want to choose someone who eats properly, who's got a proper weight, but Trump is fat. Americans are very careful at choosing a president. They want a family man, and Trump, you know, he's been married like a couple of times. He doesn't fit the, you know, the profile of an American president. And if you look at everything about Trump, you know, he's not religious, you know. Of course he lies that he is evangelical, but he's not religious, so he does not fit the profile of an American president. But all of a sudden, everybody in the United States, all white people in the United States, they love him, they want him to be president. And you wonder why. Is make America white again. That's the agenda that drove them to Donald Trump, because that's what they believe, that the white race is becoming minority from 95% to 54% in 2020. That's quite serious, you know? And when you see Donald Trump deporting people of color out of the United States and importing white race, you know, you have to understand how the United States was created. The United States was created by encouraging migration of white people only from Europe to the United States. And there was great migration of white Europeans from Europe straight to the United States. They were invited, they were putting adverts out there in magazines and TV and radios, out there in Germany, in Britain, in Ireland, everywhere in Europe, encouraging white people to go to the United States so that they can grow the white population. And this happened some 200 years ago, 150 years ago, and 100 years ago. They wanted to boost the white population to make sure that they populate America and make America white. And they succeeded. And that's what we call America now, the United States. And now Trump is reviving this dream, reviving this agenda of making America white again. So that's why you're seeing those so-called refugees coming from South Africa, white refugees, white asylum seekers, white immigrants, I don't know what to call them, but they have to have something to pretend is happening. Like, okay, they're being persecuted, they're being murdered in South Africa, there's crime, they're targeting them. So, you know, they have to make it look like, you know, that's how politics work. You know, they have to look like something is happening. We have to say we are saving them, bringing them over to safety. But the actual fact is they're making America white again. They are bringing in white immigrants and deporting non-white immigrants. And that's what making America great again is all about. So if you're black, anywhere you are, and you are a supporter of Trump, it means you don't know this fact. You don't know this fact. So most of the black people around the world are very religious, and you know, when they hear Trump saying he's anti-gay, they're like, oh yeah, he's evangelical, he loves Israel. Oh yeah, we're behind Trump. They are misled. You are misled if you're black and you're MAGA. You are misled, because what it really means is making America white again. And you, sir, are not needed in the United States. You, sir, are not needed among the Trump supporters. When they see you, they targeting you. You are the reason why Trump is. So I just wanted to share that information today, because everybody's wondering why a bunch of white people are moving to the United States from South Africa. So I thought I would share that today. Have a good day.
It's time to spill the tea on Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and this fiasco involving South African immigrants. A lot of people don't know all the little history and moving pieces, and I'm going to try to tell you the story in 2 minutes. At the end of World War II, when the Mustache Man, as they call him here, was defeated, many people who loved that ideology and believed in racial supremacy and had a lot of pseudo-scientific theories about a master race, they found a home in South Africa. There are streets named after German military leaders, and up till very recently, the Mustache Man's birthday was celebrated and people would commonly give the salute. That was the place where Elon Musk was raised, and many of Elon Musk's friends who came over here and are very prominent leaders in the tech world, including Peter Thiel. Now, what happens is when all these white supremacists move to South Africa, they took away citizenship from the black people of South Africa, the indigenous people, and they moved them into little ghettos called Bantustans. And they tried to pretend that they had little independent societies there in these overcrowded, under-resourced ghettos. And it took years, but in the 80s, a revolution happened and the apartheid system was finally overthrown. Now, at that time, Elon Musk's family left because what had made them rich with their emerald diamond mines and cheap labor and racially structured society had been taken apart. So they left. Now, even after this revolution happened, over 70% of the wealth, as you could imagine, still resided with the white colonizers who owned just about all of the land. So having a reform to make things equal for everyone would be a complicated judicial process, but it systematically took place and is still happening to this day. You could imagine how difficult it would be to unravel that terrible system and to create something fair for everyone. Now, one of the laws in South Africa is any international investment, any big company that goes to work there, they have to be sure that 30% of the company has equity in people of South Africa, black people, marginalized people, and there are several ways they could do that. But Elon Musk and Starlink didn't like that rule, and they resisted. In other words, if Starlink was to open a business in South Africa and have offices, they would have to have at least 30% of the company black South Africans. Instead of complying with that, like Microsoft and every other big tech firm, Elon Musk started to use X to put out these crazy claims of a white genocide, things that the United Nations and every other serious human rights group said is a damaging lie perpetrated by the extreme right. In reality, there's a lot of crime in South Africa, but it affects everyone in every race proportionally and is not instigated by the government over racial animosity. But Elon Musk and Donald Trump are sending that message to the world. All propaganda requires a victim. And if you want to build a system of white supremacy here in the United States or in South Africa, you need a victim. So Elon Musk has been using X, and Trump is throwing around the genocide word and bringing in white people from South Africa and telling the world he's saving them from a genocide. Since all this happened with the tariffs, Lesotho, another African nation, succumbed to Trump's wishes, and they allowed Starlink to get a contract. And now South Africa is trying to appease Elon Musk to have other ways that he could do business in South Africa and still support the country's transitional goals. The bottom line to remember, these immigrants coming to the United States are not refugees from violence or genocide. They're refugees from equality. They want to leave equality and go to white supremacy.